What if the only option you had was to win? No backup plan, no safety net, just your vision, your effort, and your commitment. This is the mindset of those who succeed beyond limits. In this audiobook, you'll learn what it truly means to go all in, mentally, emotionally, and physically. You'll discover how to eliminate excuses, conquer fear, and commit so deeply that failure is no longer an option. If you're ready to unlock your next level, it starts here, because there is no plan B. Chapter 1. Burn the boats. Why no plan B is the only way. When you truly want to succeed, you must eliminate every escape route. Burning the boats means removing every backup plan, every excuse, and every "what if it doesn't work?" It forces your focus forward. When there is no way back, the only direction left is forward, and that's where success lives. Having a plan B gives your mind permission to quit. It creates a safety net that softens your effort. If you know there's another way out, you won't give your full energy to the first plan. But when you commit fully, something inside you changes. You become unstoppable. History shows us this mindset works. Great leaders, athletes, and entrepreneurs burned their boats. They risked everything and gave their full focus to one mission. And because they had no backup plan, they made it work. When you remove your exit strategy, your creativity and resourcefulness explode. You start finding ways instead of excuses. You push through fear instead of running from it. When everything is on the line, you discover strength you didn't know you had. Burning the boats is not about being reckless. It's about being fully committed. It means you believe in your mission so much that you're willing to give everything for it. That level of belief is rare, and that's why it creates rare results. A safety net can sometimes feel comfortable, but comfort is the enemy of growth. Real change begins when you have no choice but to move forward. And in those moments, you'll find the fire that builds champions. Too many people live with one foot in and one foot out. They never fully commit, so they never fully grow. But when you go all in, you develop grit, discipline, and resilience. Those are the real ingredients of success. Burning the boats also forces you to take responsibility. There's no one else to blame, no fallback plan to rely on, just you, your actions, and your results. And that's where true power begins, when you realize success is completely in your hands. It's easy to dream big, but big dreams require big decisions. Burning the boats is one of them. It tells the world, and more importantly, it tells yourself, that you're serious, that you are ready to fight for what you want. When there's no turning back, you stop doubting and start doing. You take massive action, even when you're scared. That momentum builds confidence, and confidence turns into results. Chapter 2. The Power of Total Commitment. Success doesn't come from trying, it comes from committing. When you're halfway in, your results will always be halfway. But when you commit fully, you tap into a new level of energy, focus, and determination that can't be matched. Total commitment means you stop making excuses. You don't say, "I'll try," you say, "I will." This mindset changes how you show up every day. You stop waiting for perfect conditions and start building with what you have. When you're totally committed, you push through pain, fatigue, and doubt. You keep going when others quit. Because you're not hoping it works, you've already decided it will. That decision powers you forward, even on hard days. Commitment sharpens your focus. It eliminates distractions because you know what you're working toward. You stop wasting time on things that don't matter. You protect your energy because your goal is too important to let it slip away. Most people stay stuck because they're only partially committed. They give 50% effort and expect 100% results. But success doesn't reward the halfway committed. It rewards those who are all in, who show up every day, no matter how they feel. When you commit with everything you have, you become more creative, more resourceful, more powerful. You find solutions instead of problems. You make progress instead of excuses. You become the kind of person success is drawn to. There is a difference between interest and commitment. If you're interested, you do it when it's convenient. If you're committed, you do it no matter what. That's the line that separates average from extraordinary. People will doubt you. Obstacles will test you. But commitment doesn't care about outside noise. It keeps you locked in, focused, and moving forward, even when it's tough. That's how winners are built. Not through ease, but through relentless dedication. The truth is, your results reflect your level of commitment. If you're not where you want to be, it's not because you can't. It's because you haven't fully committed. The moment you go all in, everything starts to change. Total commitment is powerful because it transforms who you are. It builds mental strength, emotional discipline, and the habit of excellence. And those are the qualities that carry you all the way to the finish line. Chapter 3. Turning fear into focus. Fear is natural, but it doesn't have to control you. Everyone feels it. Even the strongest people experience fear before doing something great. The difference is, they don't run from it. They face it, and they use it. Fear becomes a compass pointing you toward growth, not a wall keeping you from it. When you allow fear to lead, your dreams shrink. You begin playing small, avoiding risk, and settling for less. But when you reframe fear as a sign you're moving toward something meaningful, it becomes fuel. Fear is a signal that you're stepping into something that matters, and that's exactly where focus is needed most. One way to turn fear into focus is by controlling your breathing and thoughts. When fear kicks in, your heart races and your thoughts spiral. But if you pause, breathe deeply, and ask yourself, what can I control right now? You instantly shift into a calmer, more focused state. Calm creates clarity, and clarity directs focus. Fear often comes from imagining the worst-case scenario. The problem is, we rarely stop to ask if that scenario is even likely. Most fears live in the future and never happen. Training your mind to stay present helps you focus on what you can do now, instead of worrying about what might go wrong later. Fear grows in the absence of action. The longer you hesitate, the stronger it gets. But when you move, even just a little, it loses power. Action gives your mind something to focus on. Progress, no matter how small, begins to replace fear with confidence. Some people try to eliminate fear, but that's not the goal. The goal is to act despite fear. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the decision that something else matters more. Let your goals matter more than your doubt. Let your purpose speak louder than your fear. One powerful way to handle fear is to visualize success instead of failure. Close your eyes and imagine yourself succeeding in the very thing you're afraid of. See yourself calm, strong, and in control. The brain can't tell the difference between imagination and reality, so train it to expect success. Fear tries to steal your attention. It distracts you, fills your mind with what-ifs, and scatters your energy. But focus brings you back. When you decide to lock your mind on your mission, you quiet the noise. You remember that fear is temporary, but your goals are worth it. Not every fear is dangerous. Some fear is just your brain's way of keeping you comfortable. It tells you to stay in the same place because it's familiar. But you didn't come this far to stay comfortable. You're here to grow. and growth requires discomfort. When you focus on your strengths, fear begins to fade. Most fear comes from focusing on what might go wrong or what you lack. Flip the script. Focus on your discipline, your work ethic, your resilience. What you focus on, you empower, and when you focus on your strength, you quiet your fear. Every fear you conquer builds mental strength. You become more focused, more determined, and more resilient. Fear is just a test, and every time you pass it, you grow stronger. It no longer controls you. You control it. Sometimes the fear is not about failure, it's about success. What if you actually do it? What if your life changes? That's scary too. But don't let that stop you. You were made to evolve, to rise, to do things you've never done before. Focus on that truth. The most focused people are not fearless. They're just deeply committed. They have a vision so clear and powerful that fear can't distract them. They replace fear with intention, doubt with discipline, and excuses with action. Focus requires practice. Just like fear builds with repetition, so does focus. Each time you pull your attention away from fear and back to your purpose, you strengthen your ability to stay locked in. Over time, this becomes a habit, and that habit builds champions. Fear is loud, but you can be louder. Your purpose, your discipline, and your determination can drown out every doubt, if you choose to listen to them. You get to decide where your attention goes. So turn down the fear, turn up the focus, and move forward. Always forward. Chapter 4. Make your dreams non-negotiable. If your dreams are optional, your effort will be minimal. The moment you decide that your dream is non-negotiable, everything changes. You stop making excuses, you stop delaying action, and you start showing up with purpose every single day. Non-negotiable dreams don't wait for the right time. You act now. You don't need permission. You don't wait until you feel ready. You move because your vision matters more than your fear, more than your comfort, and more than your circumstances. When something is non-negotiable, you protect it. You say no to distractions, to laziness, to anything that pulls you off track. You guard your focus like your future depends on it, because it does. Your dream must become a standard, not a wish. A wish hopes. A standard expects. And what you expect from yourself will determine what you allow, what you pursue, and what you achieve. Making your dream non-negotiable requires clarity. You have to know exactly what you want and why it matters. The clearer your vision, the stronger your motivation. Vague goals lead to weak actions. Clear dreams lead to powerful moves. Non-negotiable means you show up when it's hard, when you're tired, when you don't feel like it, when progress is slow. You show up because quitting is no longer an option. You made the decision, so you follow through. You stop negotiating with doubt. No more back and forth in your mind. No more, what if I fail? Or, what if it's too hard? You've already decided this is the path, and you're staying on it. That decision gives you strength. Non-negotiable dreams require discipline, not just motivation. Motivation fades. Some days you'll feel it, and some days you won't. But discipline means you show up anyway. Because you're not chasing feelings, you're chasing results. You become relentless. You don't entertain plan B. You don't lower the bar when things get tough. You raise your effort, your intensity, your commitment. You go harder, not softer. Most people fail not because they're incapable, but because they treat their dreams like options. Options are easy to quit. Commitments are not. When you make it non-negotiable, you lock in mentally, and that's when you start to rise. You start planning your days around your dream. You build routines, habits, and environments that support your vision. You don't leave success to chance. You engineer it with your choices. Even your self-talk changes. You don't say, "I hope I can." You say, "I will, I must, I am." That shift in language reflects a shift in identity, and identity shapes destiny. When your dream becomes non-negotiable, you become a different person, more focused, more driven, more intentional. You don't just work hard, you work with purpose and precision. Obstacles no longer feel like stop signs. They're simply part of the journey. You don't ask if you should continue, you ask how to adapt. That mindset keeps you moving when others would quit. You stop measuring results by how fast they come. Instead, you measure by how consistent you are, because deep down, you know consistency wins, especially when your dream is a priority, not an afterthought. Sacrifice becomes normal. You're willing to give up short-term pleasure for long-term purpose. You understand that success demands a price, and you're ready to pay it. You inspire others, not by talking, but by doing. People see your consistency, your fire, your commitment, and it makes them believe in what's possible for them too. Your dream becomes bigger than you. Non-negotiable dreams are lonely sometimes. Not everyone will understand. Not everyone will support you. But that's okay. You're not here for approval. You're here for progress. Every choice starts aligning with your goal. What you eat, how you spend your time, who you surround yourself with. It all shifts. Because your dream is the filter through which you make decisions. And finally, making your dream non-negotiable means betting on yourself. Fully, fearlessly, without looking back. Because when you believe in your dream without compromise, you unlock the power to turn it into reality. Chapter 5. How to silence doubt and go all in. Doubt is the quiet voice that tells you you're not good enough. It whispers in moments of hesitation and grows when you don't act. But doubt only has power when you give it your attention. To go all in, you must learn to turn down that voice and turn up your belief. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to move anyway. Silencing doubt doesn't mean you never feel it. It means you choose action over hesitation. You take the step even when the outcome isn't guaranteed, because growth lives in movement. Doubt often shows up when you start doing something new. That's normal. Your brain wants certainty, and your dream requires risk. But you can retrain your mind by proving it wrong. Each time you act, you build new evidence that you're capable. The fastest way to quiet doubt is to take action. Thinking won't get you out of fear. Doing will. The more you act, the more your confidence grows. And confidence crushes doubt. You have to control your inner dialogue. Your mind is always talking. What is it saying? If it's feeding doubt, you need to replace it with truth. Tell yourself what you can do. Tell yourself who you're becoming. Preparation is a weapon against doubt. When you're prepared, you have fewer reasons to fear failure. Train, study, practice, and sharpen your skills. The more ready you are, the quieter doubt becomes. Stop comparing your journey to others. Comparison creates insecurity. Focus on your own path, your own progress, and your own growth. No one else is running your race, and their speed has nothing to do with your success. Doubt thrives in silence. Speak your goals out loud. Declare your commitment. When you express your vision with confidence, you give it life and weaken the voice of fear. Your environment can either fuel belief or fuel doubt. If you surround yourself with negative people, doubt will grow. Be around those who believe in you and challenge you to level up. Their energy becomes your energy. Celebrate your small wins. Doubt hates progress. Every time you complete a task, hit a target, or stay consistent, you're proving to yourself that you can do it. These victories build unshakable belief. Going all in means closing the back door. No more half effort. No more, we'll see what happens. You commit fully. When your actions match your vision, doubt starts losing ground. The longer you wait, the louder doubt gets. Indecision feeds fear. Make the choice. Commit to the plan. Once you're in motion, your mind adjusts. You stop overthinking and start executing. Understand that doubt is not truth. It's just a thought. Not every thought deserves your attention. You can choose to challenge it, ignore it, or replace it with something stronger. The mind is yours to train. Remind yourself of who you've already become. You've overcome, learned, and grown more than you realize. When doubt creeps in, reflect on what you've achieved. Let your history remind you of your strength. Clarity kills doubt. The more specific your vision, the less space there is for fear. Define your goals. Know your reasons. When you're clear on the why, the how becomes less intimidating. Be aware of your language. If you constantly say, "I'll try," or "maybe I can," you're feeding doubt. Replace it with, "I will," "I'm doing this," and "it's already mine." Speak like it's already real. Don't wait for permission to go all in. No one is coming to give you confidence. You must create it. Decide that your dream is worth it, even if no one else understands it yet. Failure is not a reason to doubt. It's part of the process. If you fall, you learn. If you miss, you adjust. Doubt wants to make failure final, but you get to decide that failure is fuel, not a finish. Your mind will believe whatever you repeat. Feed it daily with belief, action, and purpose. Over time, the voice of doubt will be drowned out by a louder one, your own voice saying, "I've got this." To go all in is to bet on yourself without hesitation. No half effort, no second guessing, just pure, focused commitment. That's how doubt is silenced, not by waiting for it to disappear, but by being louder, bolder, and more relentless than it ever was. Chapter 6. Sacrifice versus comfort, choosing the hard path. Greatness doesn't come from choosing what's easy. It comes from choosing what's necessary. And often, the necessary path is the harder one, the one that demands sacrifice, effort, and discipline when comfort offers none of that. Comfort is the enemy of progress. It whispers lies that sound like kindness. Rest a little longer. You've done enough. You deserve to take it easy. But every time you choose comfort over growth, you drift further from your goals. Success demands trade-offs. You can't become your best self and stay in your comfort zone. The life you want is on the other side of sacrifice. Sacrifice of time, convenience, and sometimes even relationships that don't support your mission. When you choose the hard path, you develop character. You become the person who follows through, even when it's difficult. Each step taken in discomfort sharpens your discipline and deepens your self-respect. Sacrifice is not loss, it's investment. What you give up now, you gain later multiplied. Waking up earlier, working longer, training harder, these sacrifices build a future that's far more valuable than any temporary pleasure. Comfort may feel good now, but it keeps you average. The hard path builds resilience, strength, and results. The longer you chase ease, the further you fall behind. The more you embrace discomfort, the stronger and more capable you become. Every success story is rooted in sacrifice. Athletes, entrepreneurs, leaders, they all chose long hours over parties, focus over fun, and discipline over distractions. They paid the price when no one was watching, so they could win when everyone else gave up. Choosing the hard path is lonely sometimes. Not everyone will understand why you say no to shortcuts or why you train while they rest. But you're not doing it for their approval. You're doing it for your future. Sacrifice sharpens your vision. When you give up things that don't serve your goals, what matters becomes clearer. You stop wasting energy on what's comfortable and start using that energy to build something meaningful. There will be days when comfort screams louder than purpose. You'll want to quit, relax, skip the hard stuff. But those are the exact moments that define who you are becoming. Strength is built in those choices. Sacrifice teaches you gratitude. When you work hard for something, you value it more. You don't take it for granted because you've earned every inch of it through sweat, persistence, and focus. Comfort will never challenge you. It won't ask you to grow or face your weaknesses. Only the hard path holds up a mirror and forces you to confront what needs to change. And that's how transformation begins. Choosing sacrifice means playing the long game. It means understanding that real success doesn't come overnight. It comes to those who endure, who show up daily, who choose effort over ease. That's how legacy is built. Comfort is the illusion of peace. It feels safe, but it slowly takes your ambition. It lets days, weeks, and years pass without progress. Sacrifice feels hard, but it moves you toward purpose. It wakes up your potential. The hard path builds mental toughness. When you do what's difficult every day, you become unshakable. Obstacles stop looking like threats and start looking like opportunities to grow stronger. There's no achievement without a cost. Everyone wants the reward, but not everyone is willing to pay. The winners? They pay in full. With time, discipline, effort, and yes, sacrifice. You must become comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's the only way to adapt and evolve. Once you accept that struggle is part of success, you stop resisting it and start using it as fuel. The life you dream about will not be handed to you. It must be built step by step, choice by choice. And that building process begins with choosing the harder route over and over again. When you consistently choose the hard path, you change your identity. You become the person who doesn't run from pressure, but rises under it. You trust yourself more because you've proven you can do hard things. And in the end, sacrifice isn't about losing, it's about becoming. It's about stepping away from comfort so you can step into power. Because the truth is, the hard path is where real champions are made. When you choose sacrifice over comfort, you choose growth over staying the same. Growth never happens by accident. It happens when you deliberately take the harder road, knowing the reward is worth more than the resistance. Every moment of comfort you give up today builds the foundation for your future strength. The more you lean into discomfort now, the more capable, prepared, and confident you become tomorrow. Sacrifice makes you future-ready. People who succeed aren't necessarily the most talented, they're the most committed. And commitment often means sacrificing convenience, instant pleasure, and the temptation to quit. It's grit that separates the best from the rest. Comfort might bring temporary pleasure, but it can steal your long-term potential. It numbs your drive, quiets your urgency, and delays your goals. Sacrifice, on the other hand, ignites your purpose and fast-tracks your progress. Each time you sacrifice for your dream, you're telling the world you're serious. You're telling yourself you're worthy of more. That internal message builds identity, the kind of identity that doesn't fold under pressure. Sacrifice isn't punishment. It's proof that you value something deeply. It shows that your dream is not just a wish, but a priority. Most people talk about wanting success. Few are willing to give something up for it. Choosing the hard path teaches emotional discipline. You learn to manage frustration, delay gratification, and stay calm under pressure. These skills aren't just for success. They're essential for leadership and life. There's something powerful about knowing you're doing what others aren't willing to. When you sacrifice while others relax, it builds quiet confidence. It reminds you that your path is different, and so are your results. Every sacrifice you make adds weight to your commitment. You've put in the hours, skipped the comfort, pushed through resistance. That history of effort builds the mindset that refuses to give up. The most meaningful achievements come with a cost. They require emotional effort, physical discipline, and mental endurance. That cost is what makes the reward valuable and what makes you worthy of receiving it. Comfort is easy to justify, but hard to outgrow. It feels good in the moment, but leaves you stuck in the long run. Sacrifice stretches you, challenges you, and pulls your potential out into the light. The path to excellence is paved with uncomfortable decisions. There will be choices that test your patience, your focus, and your willpower. And with each right choice, you move one step closer to greatness. Every time you say no to a distraction, you say yes to your dream. That's what sacrifice really is. Not just saying no, but choosing a better yes. A yes that aligns with your vision and future. When you consistently choose sacrifice, it becomes second nature. You no longer dread hard work. You expect it, embrace it, and even crave it. That's when you know you've transformed. Those who fear sacrifice never taste fulfillment, because the easy path never leads to real pride. Only the ones who struggle, suffer, and stay the course earn the kind of success that truly satisfies. You will never regret the work you put in, but you will regret the comfort you gave into. 10 years from now, the nights you sacrificed for your dream will be your proudest moments, not the nights you played it safe. Sacrifice teaches you focus. When you remove distractions, your vision sharpens. You stop dabbling in 10 things and start mastering one. You do less, but you do it better. And that's where success lives. The people who make it to the top didn't get lucky. They stayed committed. They kept sacrificing even when it didn't make sense, even when no one else believed, even when the results were slow. That's real perseverance. Comfort seeks approval. Sacrifice seeks results. When you prioritize comfort, you want to feel good now. But when you sacrifice, you want to win later. And winning later is worth far more than feeling good right now. And finally, choosing the hard path doesn't make you weaker. It makes you unbreakable. You learn to trust yourself. You build momentum. You create a mindset that doesn't fear adversity. It welcomes it. Because that's the mindset of someone who is built to win. Chapter 7. Train like your life depends on it. If you want to rise above average, you have to train like it's not optional, like it's survival. That mindset transforms the way you show up. It forces intensity, discipline, and urgency into everything you do. The goal is no longer just improvement, it's mastery. Most people train when it's convenient. Champions train when it's hard. Training like your life depends on it means no off days from your purpose. Even on the days when you're tired, unmotivated, or frustrated, you still show up. Every session, every rep, every hour matters. You're either getting sharper or getting softer. When you train like it's life or death for your dream, you bring a level of focus that eliminates mediocrity. Greatness isn't built in comfort. It's forged in sweat, repetition, and struggle. Training with urgency changes your identity. You stop being someone who tries, and you become someone who commits, fully, fiercely, consistently. When you train like your future depends on it, you stop wasting time. You don't just go through the motions, you attack every task with intensity. You realize that effort without intention is effort wasted. Your standards change. You don't tolerate laziness from yourself. If the clock says you've got 60 minutes of work, you give every second your best, not because someone's watching, but because your dream deserves it. Training is more than physical. It's mental, emotional, and spiritual. You condition your mind to stay focused under pressure, your emotions to remain steady under stress, and your values to stay strong under temptation. The goal isn't perfection, it's progression. Each day you aim to be just a little better, but when you train with a life depends on it attitude, those small gains compound into unstoppable momentum. When your dream is on the line, everything matters. Your habits, your choices, your mindset, they're all part of your training. You become obsessed with growth, not for validation, but because it's who you are. Consistency beats intensity when done right. You don't need one great workout or one productive day. You need thousands. Training like your life depends on it means stacking wins, brick by brick, until the foundation is unbreakable. Excuses have no place in this mindset. When it's life or death, there's no room for, "I don't feel like it." There's only the mission, the discipline, and the next step forward. You stop negotiating with weakness. You don't argue with yourself about whether or not to train. You just do it. You've already made the decision, and now you follow through, no matter how you feel. Training builds confidence, not just in your skill, but in yourself. When you train with full commitment, you prove to yourself that you're capable of more. That self-trust becomes a weapon in every other part of life. People who don't train with intensity don't understand what it means to be prepared. Life throws unexpected challenges. The ones who thrive are those who've already prepared their body and mind to endure. You develop grit through repetition. When the work gets hard and you push anyway, you become tougher. That toughness stays with you. It shows up when life tests you outside the gym, outside the office, outside your comfort zone. You start craving challenge. The same pain you once avoided becomes your teacher. You respect the struggle because it's shaping you into the version of yourself that can handle the dream you're chasing. There are no shortcuts in real training. You can't fake the hours. You can't skip the effort. The ones who succeed are the ones who do the work when no one's looking, who show up before dawn and stay after dark. Training like your life depends on it means removing distractions. You protect your energy, cut out the noise, and eliminate things that don't serve your growth. The clearer your focus, the stronger your results. It's not about being the most talented, it's about being the most prepared. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't train with purpose. And if you have both, that's when you become unstoppable. At the end of the day, you must decide who you want to be. Are you someone who trains only when it's easy, or someone who trains like their dream is on the line? Because when your mindset shifts to that level, your life begins to reflect it. Training like your life depends on it means showing up even when there's no external reward. You don't need praise, applause, or a pat on the back. You do the work because your mission matters more than recognition. When you train with purpose, you begin to separate yourself. You no longer blend in with the crowd. You stand out through your effort. People may not see every step, but the results will eventually make the noise. Training becomes part of your identity. It's not something you do occasionally, it's who you are. You're the kind of person who trains hard, works smart, and never backs down from growth. The more you train, the more prepared you are for pressure. Pressure doesn't break you, it sharpens you. That only happens when you've put in the work long before the test arrives. You learn to respect the grind. You begin to appreciate the process more than the outcome. It's no longer about the finish line. It's about who you become on the journey. When you train like your life depends on it, you stop chasing motivation. You don't wait to feel inspired. You create your own momentum through action. Each rep, each task builds inner fire. Your standards elevate without effort. Because when you commit this deeply, average stops feeling acceptable. You naturally expect more from yourself, and that becomes your new normal. There's something powerful about working in silence, putting in the hours when no one sees, grinding while the world sleeps. That silent dedication builds loud results. True training isn't glamorous. It's often boring, repetitive, and difficult. But it's in that repetition where skill sharpens and toughness grows. Champions are built in the unnoticed hours. You stop fearing failure because you've trained through failure, pain, and resistance. You know setbacks are just part of the process, not a reason to stop. Training becomes a source of pride, not because it's easy, but because you do it anyway. You carry yourself differently when you know how hard you've worked. You learn how to control your focus. Training demands presence, being fully in the moment. That presence spills into every part of life, helping you make better decisions under pressure. Your body learns to follow your mind. The more disciplined your thoughts, the more controlled your actions. That's how you bridge the gap between intention and execution. Training teaches humility. You realize there's always room to grow, always a new level to reach. You stop coasting and start chasing mastery. Each time you push through discomfort, your mental ceiling rises. What once felt impossible now feels normal. You stretch your limits, then reset them higher. When you train with conviction, excuses disappear. You don't allow setbacks to define you. You get back up, adjust your grip, and push forward with even more focus. Your energy becomes contagious. Others notice your drive and start asking what changed. And what changed is simple. You started taking your dream seriously. Even when progress is invisible, you keep going, because you trust the compound effect of consistent effort. One more session, one more hour, one more day of showing up. You learn that excellence is not an act, it's a habit. And that habit is formed in the quiet, uncomfortable moments when quitting would be easier. And finally, training like your life depends on it. Transforms not just your results, but your mindset, your identity, and your future. Because once you know how hard you're capable of working, there's no going back. Chapter 8. Discipline over distraction. In today's world, distraction is everywhere. Notifications, noise, endless scrolling. Your focus is under constant attack. Discipline is your defense. It's the power to stay locked in on what matters while the world tries to pull you in 1,000 directions. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you'd rather do something easier. Distractions offer quick comfort. Discipline offers lasting results. Every time you choose discipline, you step closer to who you want to become. Every goal you set competes with distractions trying to steal your time. But time isn't your biggest problem. Attention is. If you can master your attention, you can master your results. Discipline sharpens that focus. The truth is, distraction isn't just about technology, it's about decisions. Every choice you make either feeds your goals or feeds your comfort. Discipline helps you make the choice that supports your future, not your feelings. People often say they lack motivation, but it's not motivation they need, it's discipline. Motivation fades, discipline endures. It shows up when motivation doesn't. It acts while your mind tries to delay. Discipline gives your goals structure. Without structure, distraction fills the space. A disciplined mind creates systems, routines, time blocks, and clear intentions that push distraction to the side. You won't always feel like staying on track. That's normal. Discipline isn't about feeling, it's about commitment. When you stop needing to feel ready and start choosing action, you gain real control. Distractions often disguise themselves as harmless. A few minutes here, a little scroll there. But those minutes add up. Discipline reminds you that those small moments matter. They either build or break momentum. True discipline isn't harsh, it's empowering. It frees you from the trap of short-term pleasure. It gives you the strength to say no to what's easy and yes to what's meaningful. Discipline grows stronger with practice. Every time you resist a distraction, you build mental muscle. Like training a body, your focus gets sharper the more you use it intentionally. Distraction is a form of escape. People run to it when things get hard, but if you learn to stay with discomfort, to sit in silence, to face your task head-on, you unlock the rare power of full engagement. Discipline keeps your vision alive. Without it, dreams fade into distractions. But with it, even on the hardest days, you keep going. One choice at a time, one step at a time. Set boundaries, not just with others, but with yourself. Discipline is the ability to create those limits and honor them. Whether it's social media, food, rest, or conversation, what you allow is what will grow. Every success story is a story of discipline. Talent matters, but discipline decides who finishes. It's not about who starts fastest. It's about who stays consistent when distractions come knocking. Discipline rewires your identity. You stop being someone who gives in easily and start becoming someone who follows through. That transformation isn't loud, but it is powerful. The more disciplined you are, the fewer decisions you need to make. You don't wonder what to do. You've already decided. That clarity eliminates the mental fatigue that distractions love to feed on. Distractions thrive in uncertainty, but a focused plan and disciplined routine give you direction. You wake up with purpose, work with intention, and end the day knowing you stayed true to your mission. Start small, one task at a time. Each time you finish what you start, your discipline grows. It becomes a part of you, not something you try to use, but something you live by. The world rewards those who can resist distraction and stay focused. That's the new superpower in an age of noise. If you can tune it all out and lock in, you'll rise while others are lost in the scroll. And remember, discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about being better than you were yesterday, about choosing your values over your impulses, about showing up when it's hard, and winning the battle within. Discipline is the bridge between intention and achievement. Many people dream, plan, and talk, but only those with discipline follow through. It's not enough to want success. You must be willing to work for it consistently, especially when distractions compete for your attention. Every time you delay a distraction, you train your brain to prioritize purpose. That delay becomes a decision, and repeated decisions become habits. Discipline isn't about saying no once. It's about saying no repeatedly until your actions match your ambitions. Most distractions aren't obvious. They're subtle. A little procrastination, a small detour, one lazy day. But those moments add up, slowly stealing the momentum you've worked so hard to build. Discipline protects you from those slow leaks. A disciplined mind creates freedom. At first, it feels restrictive, like you're limiting yourself. But soon, you realize that discipline gives you more energy, more clarity, and more time to do what truly matters. Discipline sharpens your decision-making. Instead of asking, "What do I feel like doing?" you ask, "What needs to be done?" That shift changes everything. It puts responsibility above emotion and mission above mood. You must train your attention like a muscle. If you let it wander, it weakens. But if you control it, focus expands. The stronger your focus, the less power distractions have over you. The greatest battles are not external, they're internal. The moment you sit down to work and your mind tempts you with comfort, that's the test. The disciplined win that moment, not once, but again and again. Success doesn't come to the most distracted mind. It comes to the most disciplined. The ones who say no more than they say yes. The ones who stay in when others go out. The ones who are present when everyone else is scattered. Discipline gives your days structure. Without it, you drift from task to task without meaning. But when your day has rhythm, priority, and purpose, your life begins to move with direction. To master discipline, you must understand your distractions. What tempts you the most? When are you weakest? Why do you give in? Self-awareness is the first step to self-control. There is no overnight mastery of discipline. It's a lifelong journey of recommitting to your values every day. There will be moments you slip, but the disciplined get back on track faster than anyone else. Temptation doesn't disappear. It just becomes easier to resist. Discipline doesn't remove the distractions from the world. It strengthens your ability to ignore them. That's real power. Technology is not your enemy. Lack of discipline is. You can use the same phone to scroll aimlessly or to build your dream. Discipline is what determines the difference. Accountability strengthens discipline. When others count on you, when your goals are public, when your standards are shared, your discipline sharpens. Pressure creates diamonds when discipline is present. Rewards feel better when they follow discipline. The rest feels earned. The wins feel deserved. Because you know deep down you didn't take the easy way. You earned your peace through persistence. The more you obey distraction, the harder discipline becomes. But the more you obey discipline, the quieter distractions get. What you feed will grow. Feed focus, not noise. Every distraction you overcome increases your mental endurance. You become someone who can sit longer, work deeper, and resist harder. That mental endurance will carry you through life's toughest storms. Not everything that comes your way deserves your time. Discipline teaches you to discern what's important from what's just noise. The better you filter your focus, the faster you grow. The most fulfilled people aren't the most entertained, they're the most intentional. They live by design, not by default. And the key behind that intentional life is simple: daily discipline. And finally, discipline isn't a punishment. It's a gift. A gift you give yourself every time you choose growth over comfort, commitment over chaos, and purpose over pleasure. And with it, you gain something far more valuable than fleeting distraction: control over your future. Chapter 9. How to Stay Unshakable. When everything goes wrong. Life doesn't ask for permission before it tests you. Storms come without warning, and plans fall apart without notice. The only thing you can control is how you respond. Being unshakable means standing strong even when everything around you is breaking. Strength isn't built when everything goes right. It's built when everything goes wrong. True character forms in pressure, not in peace. And when you stay calm in the chaos, you become someone nothing can break. The key to staying unshakable is focusing on what you can control. You can't always control the situation, but you can control your reaction, your mindset, and your effort. That's where your power lives. Emotions can spiral when everything feels like it's falling apart. But instead of letting fear take the wheel, ground yourself. Take deep breaths. Slow down your thinking. Remind yourself, you've faced hard times before and survived. Perspective matters. A setback can feel like the end, or it can be seen as a setup for a comeback. The way you choose to see the moment shapes how you respond to it. Choose to see strength, not weakness. Pain is real, but so is your power. Staying unshakable doesn't mean you don't feel, it means you don't fold. You allow the pain, you process it, and then you rise above it with even more resilience. Doubt screams loudest during setbacks, but you've trained for this. Every disciplined choice, every hard day you've overcome, this is when it all matters most. You didn't come this far to be broken now. Anchor yourself in purpose. When the world gets loud, purpose gives you clarity. You remember why you started. You remember what's at stake. That clarity helps you stand when it's easier to fall. Sometimes the hardest days are your greatest teachers. They show you what you're really made of. They reveal your grit, your adaptability, your true mindset. Growth lives on the other side of those moments. Accept that not everything will go as planned. Flexibility is strength. When you stop resisting what's happening, you start flowing with it. And flowing forward is better than standing still. Don't isolate when everything falls apart. Talk, connect, ask for support. Unshakable doesn't mean silent. It means having the courage to stand strong and the wisdom to lean on others when needed. When the pressure rises, simplify. Focus on the next right step. Don't get lost in the big picture when your energy is already low. Small, smart actions build momentum, even in darkness. Your environment matters. Protect your peace when you're vulnerable. Distance yourself from noise, negativity, and chaos. Create a space that allows healing, clarity, and strength to grow again. Your inner dialogue becomes critical in hard times. What are you saying to yourself? Are you feeding fear or fueling faith? Speak strength into your soul, even when your situation feels weak. Trust the process, even when it's ugly. Sometimes the breakdown comes before the breakthrough, and what feels like destruction could be the foundation of something greater being built within you. Fear tells you it's over. Resilience says, not yet. Staying unshakable means refusing to quit, even when the ground beneath you shakes. It means knowing you still have more left to give. Write down your thoughts when everything feels chaotic. Get it out of your head and onto paper. Clarity follows expression. Once you see it, you can challenge it. And once you challenge it, you can rise above it. Create a mantra that grounds you, something you can repeat when panic sets in. Words have power. Choose a phrase that reminds you of your strength and your vision. Say it until you believe it again. Remember your past victories. Hard times have come before, and you're still here. Look back at what you've survived, not to dwell, but to remind yourself that your track record for overcoming is perfect. And finally, being unshakable doesn't mean being untouched. It means being unbroken. You might bend, but you won't break. You might slow down, but you won't stop. Because deep inside, you know, storms pass, but strong minds endure. Being unshakable is about building a core that can't be moved by external chaos. Your world might feel unstable, but your mindset doesn't have to be. That kind of strength is built, not born, And every hardship is part of the construction. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to keep moving. Progress in hard times isn't always massive. It's often one steady step, one solid breath, one choice to try again despite the pain. There's power in acceptance. Fighting reality adds weight to your pain. But when you accept where you are, you stop wasting energy resisting, and you start using it to rebuild. Acceptance isn't surrender, it's strategy. Routine becomes your anchor in the storm. When everything else feels out of control, stick to your habits. Wake up, move your body, stay hydrated, do the work. These actions remind you that you still have control over your life. Tough times expose weak foundations. If something breaks easily under pressure, it wasn't strong to begin with. Let adversity reveal where you need to grow stronger, not where you need to give up. Your thoughts are powerful, especially during struggle. An unshakable person doesn't let negative thoughts go unchecked. You challenge them, replace them, and speak truth to yourself, even when it feels hard to believe. You can feel afraid and still move forward. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to keep going while you feel it. Don't wait to be fearless. Decide to be brave instead. When everything feels like it's collapsing, return to your basics. Eat well, rest, talk to someone, reconnect with nature. These simple things ground you and remind you that life still moves, even when it feels stuck. Stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What can I learn from this?" That shift puts you back in control. You're no longer a victim of your situation, you're a student of it. Keep promises to yourself, especially in hard times. Your confidence is built on your ability to follow through. Even if the world falls apart, doing what you said you'd do keeps your identity intact. Don't let temporary pain create permanent decisions. Hard times lie. They tell you it will never get better. But the truth is, every storm ends. What matters is what you decide while you're in it. The mind plays tricks when you're low. It magnifies problems and minimizes hope. Recognize the lies. Interrupt the spiral. You are not your worst day, and this moment is not your whole life. Create distance from chaos when possible. Sometimes the best move is stepping back before stepping forward. Rest is not quitting, it's reloading. Give yourself the space to see clearly again. Celebrate resilience, not just results. Even if you haven't won yet, you're still standing. That counts. That matters. Progress is measured not only in achievements, but in endurance. Speak life into yourself. Say out loud what you need to hear. I'm strong. I will get through this. I'm not done yet. Your voice is the first one your mind hears. Make it powerful. Anchor yourself to the bigger picture. This moment is painful, but it's not permanent. Zoom out and remember your purpose, your vision, your future. Let that guide you through the dark. Let struggle refine you, not define you. You're not weak because you're struggling. You're human. But you are strong because you're choosing to keep going through it. Resilience is a habit. It's not built in one massive decision. It's built through repeated small choices to rise, to continue, to believe. Brick by brick, you become unshakable. You may be shaken, but you're still standing. And that means you're not done. Keep breathing. Keep showing up. Keep doing the next right thing. The storm may be strong, but so are you. And when you make it through, and you will, you won't just be stronger, you'll be wiser, deeper, and more ready for what's next. Because what tried to break you only built you better. Chapter 10. Keep going, even when it hurts. Pain is part of the journey. It's not a sign to quit. It's a signal that you're growing. When you hit resistance, when things get heavy, that's when your breakthrough is being shaped. The difference between those who succeed and those who stop is what they do when it starts to hurt. Most people stop at discomfort, but greatness lives beyond it. The deeper you push into pain, physical, emotional, or mental, the more you unlock parts of yourself you've never met. Strength isn't found in the easy, it's revealed in the struggle. When it hurts, your mind will beg for comfort. It will try to talk you out of effort, out of progress, out of purpose. That's the moment you must choose truth over emotion. You're not done. You're just being tested. You don't build mental toughness by avoiding pain. You build it by surviving it. You grow by pushing through, not pulling back. Pain sharpens focus. It builds discipline. It teaches you what truly matters. You'll never feel like continuing when it hurts. That's what makes it powerful. Doing it anyway, despite the fatigue, the stress, the doubt. That's where identity is transformed. That's where self-respect is born. Some of your greatest growth will come in your lowest moments. When you keep moving while everything inside says stop, you're proving to yourself that quitting isn't in your DNA. That's how you build a mindset no one can shake. Don't ask for an easier path. Ask for the strength to keep walking the one you're on. Life will test you, but every step you take in pain is a promise to your future that you won't back down. Pain brings clarity. It removes distractions, narrows your vision, and makes your why louder. When it hurts, remember your reason. Anchor yourself to the goal, not the discomfort. You may be tired, you may be discouraged, but you're still breathing. And if you're breathing, you're capable of one more step, one more rep, one more push forward. That's all it takes to keep the momentum alive. Keep going, not because it's easy, but because you're committed. The pain you're feeling now will one day become the strength you rely on. You're building something inside that can't be measured, only lived. People will notice your wins, but they'll never understand the pain behind them. And that's okay. Your journey is personal. What you're pushing through is shaping something in you that no one can take away. Your emotions may scream at you to quit, but your purpose, it whispers, keep going. That whisper may be quiet, but it's always true. Learn to trust it, especially when everything feels like it's falling apart. Comfort zones don't build champions. Pain zones do. Staying when it's hard, fighting when you're exhausted, choosing forward when backward feels easier. These are the moments that define winners. You have more in you, more strength, more endurance, more willpower. Pain wants to convince you that you're done, but pain is not your truth. Keep digging. There's power under the pressure. Tough times don't last, but tough people do. And tough people aren't born, they're forged. You're in the fire now, but fire refines. It burns away weakness and reveals what's real. Your future self is watching. One day, you'll look back and be proud of the moment you didn't quit. The moment you stayed. The moment you said, I hurt, but I'm not done. That's the moment that changes everything. Don't let temporary pain create permanent regret. It will pass. The ache, the fatigue, the struggle, they're all temporary. But quitting leaves a scar. Progress leaves a legacy. Pain is part of the price. And if you're willing to pay it, you'll earn what most never will. Discipline, self-mastery, pride, results, peace, all built through the decision to keep going when it hurts most. What feels heavy now will feel light later, because you're getting stronger every day. What scares you today will become your warm-up, but only if you keep pushing through the pain. And remember, every step through pain makes you more unstoppable. because pain doesn't last. But who you become by walking through it, that lasts forever. Even when the pain feels unbearable, progress is happening underneath. Growth often works in silence, without applause, without comfort. But your effort is being recorded in every part of who you're becoming. Sometimes the hardest part is simply staying in the fight. But staying is enough. Holding the line, not quitting, not backing down. Those choices shape a spirit that cannot be broken. Your energy may run low, but your reason must stay strong. Pain will try to blur your vision, but your why is your anchor. Remind yourself daily what you're fighting for, and let that purpose carry you. Every moment you push past the urge to stop is a message to your future. I don't give up. That message builds self-trust, and self-trust is the fuel that keeps you moving when nothing else does. When it hurts, you're in the proving ground, not to others, but to yourself. This is where you discover how serious you are about your dream. Many talk, few endure, but those who endure win. It's okay to slow down. It's okay to breathe. But don't stop. Movement, even slow movement, is still forward. As long as you refuse to quit, you're still in the fight, and that's what counts. Your future won't be built by the easy days. It will be built by these, when every step is hard, but you take it anyway. This is where resilience is born, not in ease, but in effort. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be consistent. Consistency in hard times is more powerful than talent in easy ones. When you keep showing up, the pain eventually turns into progress. There's a hidden gift in every hard moment. Transformation. Pain has the power to break you open and rebuild you stronger, but only if you keep going long enough to discover what's on the other side. The process may be slow, but quitting won't make it faster. The only way out is through. The more pressure you withstand, the more unshakable you become, and that kind of strength lasts for life. You're not weak for feeling tired. You're strong for continuing in spite of it. Most people don't even try, but you show up again and again. That's what makes you different. That's what makes you dangerous. Don't confuse temporary pain with permanent failure. This season will pass, but the strength you're gaining right now, that will serve you for years to come. You've made it through hard things before. Look back, not to dwell, but to remind yourself of your power. You're still standing, still breathing, still capable. Don't let this moment erase that truth. Sometimes you have to carry yourself. No one will lift you, encourage you, or remind you why you started. That's okay. Learn to be your own coach, your own motivator, your own hero. Your limits are rarely real. They're usually mental. Pain exposes the walls you've built in your own mind. When you push past them, you realize those limits were never yours to begin with. This chapter of pain is not the end of your story. It's the part that makes the victory mean something. Keep turning the page. The breakthrough doesn't come before the struggle. It comes because of it. Let go of needing to feel okay before you act. You don't need to feel strong to be strong. Every time you move through pain, you build faith in your ability to keep going. Make discomfort your training ground. It teaches you how to breathe under pressure, how to think through chaos, how to move while breaking. Those are the lessons that shape leaders. Even the smallest act of effort in pain is a win. One rep, one sentence, one breath. It all counts. Stack those wins. They will carry you through when motivation can't. And finally, keep going. Not because it's easy, not because it feels good, but because you owe it to yourself. You've come too far to give up now, and the version of you on the other side is waiting. Chapter 11. Betting on yourself, the ultimate power move. No one will believe in your dream more than you. That's why betting on yourself is the greatest decision you'll ever make. It's the moment you stop waiting for permission and start building your future with full confidence. Betting on yourself means trusting your instincts even when others doubt you. It means choosing your vision over their opinions. You stop asking if you're ready and start moving because your dream can't wait any longer. This choice isn't about arrogance, it's about ownership. You accept full responsibility for your growth, your mistakes, and your success. No more blaming, no more excuses. You become the driver of your own destiny. You don't need everyone to believe in you. You just need one person, you. The moment you back yourself fully, you become unstoppable. That inner belief creates outer momentum. When you bet on yourself, you stop playing it safe. You take risks others avoid. You speak up, step forward, and stretch beyond your comfort zone. That's where real change begins. The world will always try to make you doubt your worth. But when you believe in yourself, their opinions lose power. You no longer need validation. You already know your value. There is no magic outside of you. The answers, the abilities, the strength, they're already inside. Betting on yourself is simply deciding to unlock and use what you've always had. You start showing up differently, with more confidence, more consistency, and more purpose. Because now, your actions aren't driven by fear. They're driven by faith in your own ability. It won't always be easy. There will be setbacks, criticism, and moments of doubt. But betting on yourself doesn't mean you'll never fall. It means you'll always rise. When you choose yourself, doors begin to open. People start noticing your effort. Opportunities appear. Life starts to align, not because it's easy, but because you're finally walking your true path. You stop waiting for the right moment. You create the moment. Betting on yourself gives you the power to begin now, with what you have, exactly where you are. Courage grows every time you honor your own potential. Each small step builds belief. Each win reinforces trust. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to keep showing up for yourself. Your self-respect rises when you stop abandoning your dreams. Every time you choose action over avoidance, discipline over distraction, you prove to yourself that you matter. Other people may quit on you. Life may knock you down. But when you've bet on yourself, you never walk away. You fight. You adapt. You endure. This decision changes how you spend your time. You stop wasting hours on things that don't grow you. You become intentional about your habits, your circle, your goals. Self-belief is a skill. It's built through repetition, just like anything else. Every time you commit, every time you follow through, you strengthen that belief. There is no backup plan when you bet fully on yourself. You burn the boats, you remove the safety nets. And because there's no escape, you find a way to win. You learn to silence your inner critic. You replace self-doubt with self-talk that builds. I'm learning. I'm improving. I'm capable. These words become your daily fuel. The more you trust yourself, the less approval you need. You become your own source of motivation. Your actions are no longer about being seen. They're about being true to your vision. And in the end, betting on yourself is about freedom. The freedom to rise, to grow, to live fully. Because once you realize your power, no one, not even fear, can hold you back. When you bet on yourself, you make a promise you don't break. You say, I will keep going, even when no one claps. It's not about external applause. It's about internal accountability and pride. You become your greatest investment. Time, effort, learning. Every drop you pour into yourself compounds over time. Betting on yourself is the one risk that always has a return if you stay consistent. Others may see your leap as risky, but what's truly risky is staying small. What's risky is living life without ever trying, ever growing, or ever believing you were meant for more. Every time you choose faith over fear, your confidence expands. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens choice by choice. That trust in yourself becomes armor you carry into every room you enter. You begin to walk differently, not with arrogance, but with quiet certainty. Because when you know what you're capable of, you don't have to prove anything. You simply become it. You stop settling for almost ready, almost trying, almost starting. Betting on yourself removes the almost and replaces it with action. You step in, you commit, you begin. Even in failure, betting on yourself pays off, because you don't just gain results, you gain wisdom. You learn faster, you adapt better, and you bounce back stronger than before. You'll surprise yourself. Things you thought were out of reach start to move closer. Not because they got easier, but because you became bolder, more focused, and more relentless. There's a shift when you start believing you're worth the effort. You stop treating yourself like a side project and start treating yourself like a priority. That's when momentum builds. People may doubt you, and that's fine. What matters is that you don't join them. Your own voice must speak louder than their limitations. Your belief must override their noise. When you bet on yourself, you embrace being different. You stop trying to fit in because you were born to stand out. And standing out means doing things most people are too scared to do. You learn how to lead yourself. Discipline, clarity, emotional control, they all grow when you take responsibility for your results. And once you lead yourself, you're ready to lead others. Every small decision adds up. Wake up early, show up strong, do the work, repeat. Betting on yourself isn't just about big moves. It's about the small daily choices that move the needle. You stop fearing pressure because you've already put yourself on the line. You don't avoid challenges. You rise to meet them, knowing pressure creates diamonds, not cracks. It forces you to level up. You start looking for ways to grow instead of excuses to stay the same. And growth becomes your new standard. Not an option, but a lifestyle. You begin to dream bigger. Not because you're chasing fantasy, but because you're building capacity. Each risk you take stretches you, and suddenly, what once scared you now excites you. You take full responsibility for your energy. You protect your peace, guard your mind, and feed your focus. Because you know nothing grows in chaos, and clarity fuels action. The opinions that once held you back begin to fade. Because betting on yourself gives you a new lens. You care more about your future than others' judgments. That freedom is priceless. You discover you never needed permission. The key was always in your hands. Once you stop waiting and start creating, the world begins to respond to your courage. And in the end, betting on yourself doesn't just change what you do, it changes who you are. You become someone who trusts, acts, endures, and rises. And that version of you? That's where everything begins. Chapter 12. All in or nothing. Finish what you started. Starting is easy. Finishing is rare. Anyone can begin a journey when they're excited and inspired, but few have the discipline to finish when it gets hard, quiet, and lonely. The ones who do, they're the ones who change their lives. Going all in means making a full commitment, not a convenient one. You don't dip your toe in the water. You dive in and burn the bridge behind you. It's a mindset that says, I'm not backing out, no matter what comes. You didn't come this far just to come this far. There's a reason you started, a fire that made you move, a vision that pulled you forward. Now, in the middle of the mess, you must remember why you began, and finish with the same energy. The finish line always tests your character. It's the final stretch that reveals if you're serious. When motivation fades and distractions grow louder, it's your purpose and consistency that keep you moving forward. You can't reach your full potential with half-hearted effort. You must go all in, physically, mentally, emotionally. Only then will your actions align with your ambition and your dream begin to take form. Finishing what you started teaches you how to trust yourself. Every time you complete something you once thought about quitting, your belief in your own strength multiplies. That's how confidence is built, through follow-through. There will always be a reason to quit. Excuses, obstacles, delays. They don't disappear. But the person who finishes is the one who decides their vision matters more than their excuses. Going all in doesn't mean being perfect. It means being committed. You'll make mistakes, face setbacks, and get frustrated. But if your decision is final, you'll keep showing up. And that's what finishing demands. The people who finish aren't the ones who never struggled. They're the ones who kept going despite the struggle. They didn't need perfect conditions. They created progress from chaos. Finishing is proof. Proof that you can follow through. Proof that you can honor your word. And that proof becomes the foundation for every future goal you dare to chase. When you go all in, distractions become irrelevant. You don't need to weigh options. You've already decided. You protect your time, say no without guilt, and prioritize what matters most. Every unfinished goal carries emotional weight. It chips away at your self-image and fuels self-doubt. But every finished goal builds momentum and transforms your identity into one of a closer, someone who completes what they begin. The final 10% of anything is where most people give up. Not because they lack talent, but because they lack endurance. Train yourself to push harder at the end, not softer. That's where greatness is sealed. Momentum doesn't come from starting, it comes from finishing. The rush of crossing that finish line gives you the fuel for what's next. One completed mission creates belief for the next mountain you climb. You don't need more time, you need more intention. When you go all in, you don't just work harder, you work smarter. Every hour counts, every action aligns. That precision leads to faster results. Let your actions speak. Going all in isn't loud, it's focused. While others talk, you work. While others plan, you build. And eventually, your results make the noise. You owe it to yourself to see it through. No one else will carry your dream across the finish line. That's your job. And when you finish strong, you not only win, you inspire. Every dream that changed the world was finished by someone who refused to quit. Your finish matters, not just for you, but for the people your story will impact. Someone needs your example to keep going. Half-finished goals leave you stuck in cycles. Break free by finishing something, anything. Prove to yourself that you're not just a starter, you're a finisher. That identity shift changes everything. And finally, when you go all in and finish what you start, you become dangerous, in the best way. Because now the world knows. You don't play with your purpose. You execute, you rise, you complete. Finishing what you start is a statement. It tells the world, and more importantly, yourself, that you're someone who follows through. That you don't abandon your path when it stops being easy. You double down when it matters most. Going all in means cutting off other options. You stop flirting with backup plans. You stop saying, if this doesn't work, I'll try something else. You make it work. You fight through the doubt until the result appears. You cannot live your full story with unfinished chapters. Every time you walk away from something hard, you leave your potential on the table. But when you finish, you create closure. And that's where evolution begins. Most people underestimate the power of completion. One finished task builds more self-belief than a dozen unfinished ones. The discipline it takes to finish will become your superpower in every area of life. Every time you finish something meaningful, you build momentum. That momentum bleeds into your confidence, your habits, your choices. You start thinking bigger because you've proven you can finish what you start. Finishing doesn't require perfection. It requires persistence. Even when things fall apart, even when progress is slow, you stay in motion. You don't get stuck in disappointment. You rise and finish anyway. Some days, all you'll have is grit. No excitement, no energy, just a commitment to see it through. And those are the days that separate the people who try from the people who finish. You train your brain to expect excellence when you follow through. The act of finishing resets your standard. You stop entertaining mediocrity and start demanding greatness from yourself. The world remembers finishers. History doesn't reward good intentions, it rewards results. When you commit and cross the line, you create impact that lasts longer than effort that fell short. No one will remember how long it took. They'll remember that you completed it. Progress is progress, even if it's slow. The win is not in how fast, it's in not stopping. Going all in means showing up even when progress feels invisible, even when no one notices, even when no results are visible. You keep building, because you know every effort is stacking. When you finish, you rewrite your own narrative. You no longer see yourself as someone who gives up. You begin to see yourself as someone who finishes what they begin, no matter how hard it gets. Finishing requires resilience, not just focus. Distractions will try to pull you away. Life will test your patience, but you stay locked in. That focus in the chaos is what finishing demands. Your potential is not proven in the beginning, it's revealed in the end. The moment you cross that finish line, your belief multiplies. You now have evidence that you're capable of achieving what you once feared. Finishing builds discipline, but it also builds peace. There's a calm that comes when you know you didn't quit on yourself. That peace is rare and only earned through relentless follow-through. Being all in means staying loyal to your commitment, not your comfort. You'll be tired, tested, and tempted to walk away. But you made a vow to finish, and you honor it. People respect finishers, not because of what they say, but because of what they prove. When you finish, your actions become louder than any words ever could. If you stop now, you'll never know how close you were. But if you finish, you'll gain a story that will strengthen you for life. That story will become fuel for your future. You'll never regret finishing. You may regret hesitating, delaying, or doubting, but never completing. That feeling of knowing you went all in, that's unmatched. That's where transformation happens. And when it's all said and done, you'll realize that finishing wasn't just about achieving a goal, it was about becoming someone who doesn't quit. That identity is unshakable. That version of you, unstoppable. You don't build legacy by quitting halfway. You build it by showing up again and again, especially when it's inconvenient, uncomfortable, or unclear. True greatness is carved by those who finish despite every reason not to. When you finish, you create closure and open new doors. You free up mental space that was once occupied by unfinished business. Completion brings clarity. It allows you to move forward with new confidence. Unfinished goals keep you stuck in cycles of self-doubt. You begin to wonder if you're the kind of person who never follows through. But finishing proves otherwise. It becomes the moment you rewrite your self-image. The journey may evolve, but the finish line still matters. Even if your path shifts, your commitment should not. Adapt, adjust, realign, but never stop until it's done. Momentum grows with every completed task. Finishing creates a chain reaction. One victory leads to another. That's how you build progress that compounds over time and pulls you further ahead than you imagined. The discipline to finish isn't just a habit, it's a mindset. It's waking up each day and deciding again, I'm still in. That choice becomes your identity, and that identity creates consistent action. Finishing trains your focus. You learn how to lock in, push aside distractions, and do what matters, even when it's not exciting anymore. That level of focus becomes a skill you take everywhere. It's easy to walk away when it gets hard, but walking away always carries a cost. Your confidence, your integrity, your potential. Finishing may be hard, but quitting is far more expensive. Sometimes, all that stands between you and the finish line is one more hour of focus, one more burst of discipline, one more refusal to give up. The finish is often closer than you think. Don't stop now. You're not chasing perfection, you're pursuing completion. Done is better than almost. Finished is more powerful than flawless. Because what's complete can impact the world. What's unfinished stays in your head. You don't have to finish alone, but you do have to finish. Whether you have a team or walk solo, your commitment is your own. No one else can carry your mission to completion like you can. When others slow down, you stay steady. That's the all-in mindset. While the world rests, you rise. While they hesitate, you execute. You don't wait for ideal conditions. You build despite them. You didn't start this journey on accident. There was a spark inside you, a reason to begin. That same fire is still there. Stoke it, feed it, let it carry you to the end. The hardest part of the journey is often right before the breakthrough. The resistance grows because you're close. The pain increases because you're near. Push through it. It's the final test before the win. You inspire others when you finish. Not because you had it easy, but because you didn't quit when it got hard. Your example lights the path for those watching quietly, wondering if they can do it too. Going all in doesn't mean everything goes right. It means you stay committed when it goes wrong. You're not just chasing a result. You're proving to yourself that you're someone who finishes regardless of difficulty. Every time you finish, you increase your capacity for the next challenge. Your tolerance for pressure rises. Your belief deepens, your execution sharpens, and with that, bigger dreams become achievable. Completion creates confidence. You now have evidence, not just belief, that you can start and finish anything you truly commit to. That's more valuable than any motivation. It's proof of who you are becoming. You are your most powerful when you're all in, not halfway, not testing the waters. Fully committed, fully focused, fully present. That version of you, that's who changes everything. And in the end, finishing isn't about reaching a destination, it's about honoring your potential. It's the declaration that you didn't give up on yourself, that you saw it through. And that's where true transformation begins. Finishing isn't just about proving something to the world. It's about proving something to yourself. It's a declaration that says, I follow through. I honor my word. I see things to the end. You stop chasing quick wins when you commit to going all in. You learn to embrace the long game, to respect the process, and to stay the course. That mindset is rare, but it's also unstoppable. Most people admire success, but quit when it takes too long. But real winners understand. Time doesn't matter if the mission is real. If it's worth starting, it's worth finishing, no matter how long it takes. When you finish, your belief system upgrades. You no longer wonder if you're capable. You know. That knowing transforms how you show up in every future project, goal, and challenge. Quitting becomes easier every time you do it, but so does finishing, if you make it your habit. And once finishing becomes who you are, you'll refuse to leave any part of your life incomplete. When you're all in, you learn how to push through the middle, the most dangerous part. The beginning is exciting, the end is rewarding. But the middle, that's where most people disappear. Finishing doesn't mean the path was perfect. It means you stayed when it got messy. You adjusted, you adapted, and you refused to give up. That kind of grit is what builds a legend. Some seasons require blind faith. You won't always see the reward. You won't always feel progress. But you trust the effort. You believe the work is working, even when the results are silent. Every time you see something through, you remove another limit from your life. Because now you know you're not the kind of person who leaves things half done. You've raised your standard, and it shows. There's honor in completion. You didn't take shortcuts. You didn't bail when it was hard. You did the work, took the hits, and kept moving. That's what separates the committed from the casual. Finishing teaches you endurance, not just excitement. Anyone can be passionate in the beginning, but endurance keeps you grounded when passion fades. That's the real difference between starters and finishers. Let your track record speak. Let your results become your reputation. You don't need to talk loudly about your goals, just finish them, and people will know exactly who you are. The ones who finish build self-respect, because they know they didn't cheat the journey, they did the hard parts. And that pride doesn't come from applause, it comes from integrity. When you go all in, you build momentum that money can't buy. You wake up with direction. You walk with purpose. That internal fire can't be given. It's earned in the trenches of discipline. Completion unlocks confidence for your next move. Because you've been tested, you've faced resistance, and you overcame. That makes your next challenge look a lot smaller than the last. You never lose by finishing. You only lose by walking away too early. There's always something to gain: wisdom, skill, grit, clarity. But you'll never know what was possible if you stop before the end. Being all in isn't about intensity. It's about consistency. Not one big effort, but hundreds of small ones stacked with purpose. That's how mountains are moved, not in leaps, but in steps. Some days will ask for your very best. Other days will ask for whatever you have left. But as long as you give it, you're still in the game. And finishers stay in the game until the final whistle. You weren't built for halfway living. You were born with the power to commit, to persist, and to complete. So stop hesitating, go all in, and don't look back until the job is done. And finally, finishing isn't the end. It's the beginning of a new version of you. One who's disciplined, focused, and relentless. One who doesn't just start dreams, but builds them into reality. The difference between those who try and those who win is simple: commitment. When you remove the safety net, when you stop entertaining Plan B, your only path is forward. That's where real growth happens. That's where winners are made. Going all in isn't easy, but it's the only way to become everything you're meant to be. So walk away from hesitation, burn the excuses, and bet fully on yourself. Because when there's no plan B, success becomes your only destination.